Hello, Danitza. How are you? Is everything okay?
Hi, Angelis. Yep, everything's okay. Thanks.
Good. So, were you at the party? How was it?
Yes, I was. Very. My colleagues are kind of old, and the music was like the 70s and 80s. So I was trying to, recall some choreographies. So that.
Okay. Yeah, no, I was asking why you were not here. Then I just checked the message, right? And I just watched the video. I just reply as well, but it's good. But I'm old as well. I also listen. Actually, I only listen to 60s, 70s, 80s music. 90s a little bit, but 2000s and 10s and 20s. I don't know about music from today's. So
But did you dance with
I'm
that
old.
kind of music, 80s and 70s? Do you know the steps and the
I
choreographies?
mean, not for dances exactly, right? I mean, it's just for listening. But for dancing, I don't know how to dance, so I'm lost. It doesn't matter what's all right, what's the period of time. I'm going to be lost by dancing. I love it, but I just do it for fun. But I don't know the steps of any type of dance. I'm
Yeah.
useless for that. Hmm.
I wish I was
So
always
yes.
with you. Yeah. Sorry. I'm just kidding.
No, but it's good, good. So it's great and great. I thought actually that you were going to be really, really late. You're here now, and that's great. That is, but
Yeah.
great. Also, thanks also for letting me know. Well, but I think that you didn't do your homework, right? I was taking a look at the document. Were you able to work on your homework?
No, I didn't. Sorry.
All right, no worries. But again, then you're going to have more. All right, it's going to be either for this Friday, could be, or for Monday. Okay, but remember, it depends on you because we're going to keep working. But I need to try to cover right as much as we can in the time that we have left. Because remember, Danitza, these are going to be our last. Now it's going to be our last 9 classes together, right? But I'm going to keep covering and the ones the transitional words and phrases that you believe that you need to practice, work on some examples and you can show them to me. All right, the examples that I ask as well is just to be sure that the difference between those words is going to be clear. All right, but that's it. Again, I don't want to be a party pooper because you were having fun. I don't want to now be scolding you. I don't know what's the meaning of the scolding or to scold.
No, no, sorry, no, I don't know.
Okay, is when the son, right, or the let's say the child did something bad, and the father says like blah blah blah, blah, right, you have to do that. If you do that, this, that, and that, right? So is telling him why this was bad or good, right? That's the scold, but it can be verbally or physically, right? Parents can scold their children because they did something bad. All right. So that's why I'm saying I don't want to scold you or anything like that. But remember, work on that when you have the time to do it. Then it's now we're going to finish with the last lesson that we have for this course. Remember, this is the 8th class. With this, we're finishing A11. And again, on Friday, we're starting A12. All right. I don't know if you have any questions before starting with this presentation, because I believe it's going to be a review. I believe that we took a look at this not in the lesson that we had, but you told me, if I'm not wrong, about the changes in reported speech. We're going to see if that's the case. But perhaps it's going to be short and we're going to go through transitional words directly. Denise. But do you have any questions about anything before starting with the class?
Yes, I didn't finish the activities of Pearson. I mean, I have one unit, um, the fourth unit. I think I will not be able to finish this in 2 hours, the module completely because I didn't even do the exams. So I was wondering how can um I don't know, um, try to fix this. I mean, I have talked with the administrator or someone. Sorry.
I don't know, Dennis. I'm going to think about it, all right? I mean, it's okay. I told you, right? This is the last day, but I always give extra time. I don't know, actually. I believe that I gave you until the weekend, if I'm not wrong. But let me check. If that's not the case, no worries, because again, you always work with this. I know that you're responsible. I know how you do the things I need to, so there's no problem. All right. In this case, I can do it directly. I work on that with connection with management only if it's necessary or some things that I have to do. I do it. All right. When I see again that the student is always well missing all the assignments every single time and the performance is average and they are missing classes, right? So if that's the behavior, of course I have to act through management, right? Because that's the way we have to do it. But with you, I know how you work, so there's no problem. I'm going to send the due date, all right? I'm going to do that right now so that we don't forget. All right, but it's the last
Thank you.
time that is,
Yes, yes,
and
yes,
it's the
yes,
last
yes,
time
yes.
that you go to a party instead of working.
No, I'm here. I know you missed me the last week, so
Yeah,
I'm
come
with
on,
you.
you don't have to miss classes. Yes, remember, these are the last 9 classes now. And perhaps we're never going to see each other again. So,
No, you are going to teach me French. No.
French, but you didn't want to. But
No,
French, yeah, French
I
is good.
want, but it's very difficult with the pronunciation. It's oof, so our stories, our world.
Yeah, but it's through this exercise. Were you practicing with the exercise that I told you, or you didn't practice? Remember the exercise about the vowels?
Vowels. The best resource I think for me was the resources related with the lectures and different kind of intonations. Yes, those the kind of lectures with the different accents. Yes,
Okay.
the YouTube something in the same way. Those both I use
Okay.
those.
Good, good. That's great. And what about the one, remember, the one in which you have to open and close your mind, your mouth, sorry, and you have to do the form, your mouth has to form one vowel, but you have to pronounce a different vowel, right? Remember, for example, what happens with the French U, right? That is actually not U, but it's U, U. It's because you have to make the U form with your mouth, but you have to say the E in what you say, right? Again, and that's going to work with everything, with English as well. All right, practice that. Again, try to say when you're try to say and so you open your mouth to say an but instead of you say all right, and also try to regulate how the pitch of your vowel is going to change, right? When you say and it's
Yes,
going to
I
be
know that it's very difficult because even your how can I say this? The way you breathe and there's I don't know how you expose the aliento. I don't know how you.
yes, the breath. The breath. You can say
Yes,
yes.
it's more. I don't know. You can identify more uh, errors in French than in English.
Yeah, yeah,
That's
yeah.
very
It's it's
frustrating.
it's tricky, but again, it's just practicing, and believe me, it's just practicing. And if you pay attention to those details from the very beginning, it is better to learn faster. Right? Why? Because if you don't have all these elements and you start practicing and learning, making a lot of mistakes, and you are not aware of those mistakes, it's going to be hard to correct them later on. It is possible. All right, it is possible. It's not that it's impossible because I told you, right? Remember from the English, you told me that you're having problems recognizing the difference between some vowels and the phonetics, right, of some words.
Mm.
And it's just because of a lack of practice, could be, or because for you it was not a thing when you were speaking. When you were speaking, you didn't pay attention to the difference, right, between it and it, or between what are the other words, right? A sheet, and the words we were practicing, right? So those little details perhaps were not part of the things that you were paying attention from the very beginning. It is a possibility, right? But again, when you're aware as you're learning a language from the very basic level, it is going to be easier to be working that little by little, right? And what's the level that you told me? You know something about French, right? But how much do you know French?
Oh, mm, I don't know. I can't say because I can understand just a little bit, but I mean I can understand, but I cannot speak. I cannot. It's like
Okay.
having two processors or three processors in my brain trying to I don't know how to separate things. It's more complex in
Okay.
my
All
head.
right. Yes, at the end,
But I
again,
can
you
understand.
good, exactly. You have an advantage with French again. That actually it is good that you know English and that you know Spanish because you're going to see that from those two languages you're going to find a lot of resources to understand French even more, right? And even both are going to work in two different ways. Spanish is going to work for you with French because it's going to give you more resources to understand the different tenses, right? You don't have as many tenses in English as you have in Spanish or in
Mm,
French, right? Spanish and French are more complex in that. But knowing Spanish is going to give you an advantage because you're going to understand the logic of conjugating different tenses that you don't have in English, but you have in French. Right? For example, in the subjunctive, I don't know if you remember that when you say, right, if I wear you, right, that where is the subjunctive. It doesn't exist in English. Of course, it exists in the way you name it. It's the subjunctive, but there's not a specific conjugation in English for the subjunctive. Where is simple past? But you're using the subjunctive or the simple past as the subjunctive for there.
mhm.
So it's just a replacement for something that you don't have, right? But you have a specific form of the subjunctive for French as you have it for Spanish, right? And it's going to happen like that. So again, that's always an advantage. And if you want even my piece of advice, it is better if you learn French by someone who can teach you French in English. All right, that's the best thing that you can do. So if you're going to look forward to learning French, Danisa, try to look for some videos or try to look for someone who can teach you French, but in
In
English.
English. Yeah.
In English, and that's going to be way better. Over there, in my tell me, or actually, no, you're going to see it is going to be for sure that you're going to improve both languages at the same time, English
Mm,
and French, and you're going to see some interesting connections over there. And then, of course, you can go to Spanish again. But if you get to learn the new language that you want to learn in the second language that you learned before that, you're going to, well, it's going to be a lot more beneficial than just learning
yeah.
again with Spanish as your main. Dude, I don't know if you were watching. Try to watch. I have some channels that I when I was learning French from the very beginning. That's what I decided to do, and it served me a lot. So I'm going to share some channels. I don't know. I must have them over there. It's a long time that I've not watch those because they are basic, right? Just to start with French. But if I get to find them and if I have the channels, I'm going to share them with you. All right?
I have a question.
Yeah.
What kind of artists do you know? I mean, related with music or musicians that have good structure with French? Because for example, um, I listen to Celine Dion, her songs in French, and I think the way I mean she expresses, I don't know, she expressed the song in a good structure, so it's like a story. So she doesn't use many modismos. I don't know. So if you have another artist, because that's
Look,
uh,
actually, No, I would say if you ask me with that criteria, all right, a good structure, I believe I'm not going to be able to give you a recommendation. Why? Because usually when I got to find, I have one favorite one, all right, but I don't think if it's going to be, I'm writing it in the chat, all right, and he's actually Canadian as well, okay, from Quebec, if I'm not wrong, Pierre Lapointe. And he has songs only in French, right? He only sings in French. Everything is in French, just French. But his French is very, very clear. He puts a lot of emphasis on all those little details that are important to know in French. All right. And to me, it was great. And actually, not because I was not paying attention to the structure or to the things that you're describing right now. To me, it's just finding something that you really like and you really enjoy listening to. And that happened to me with this because I listen to many other French speaking artists. Then actually, again, this is just a French speaking, but he's from Canada. But it was not that it was working. I found other artists that perhaps had more complex and better structured lyrics and so on, but I didn't like it. So to me, it was just like an obligation to listen to that, and I would say, okay, so well, I'm not going to learn anything over here, right? Because if you're just doing something because you have to do it, even though the lyrics can help you a lot in terms of grammar because you can read it, perhaps that's going to be great. But to me, again, this artist, because that's my type of of artists, let's say, okay, of music. It's a little bit gray, a little bit kind of, I don't know, right? I listened a lot to sad music, to gray music, or right, to kind of dim music, but not because I'm like that, because I really like how the musicality in those types of songs are kind of richer, and that makes me enjoy even more the lyrics. Okay, but again, the good thing that you can find about this artist, just for you perhaps to try to see if it's going to be for you, is the way he pronounces all these words. And even though the French right from Quebec is different from the French right you have, it's of course very different from the French that you got from Paris or from other cities in France. It is very clear, all right? And actually, he sings French in a very standard way. So it doesn't matter if you want to have the French, right, French accent or the Quebecois accent. Both these artists is going to be good for you, right? But again, my idea more than that, if you really want to practice songs, it is just to find something that you really love. And if you repeat that again and again, it's going to improve again, of course, your pronunciation a lot. And of course, you must know that. But again, that's the only recommendation I can give you. But that works for me because I love that and I love the songs that he has. But it's going to be a rather job to find the artist for you.
Yes, I only hear, listen, her music. Yes, it's because I can understand the other girls. I just can't. And that's why
All
I
right.
am asking.
Take a look at this again. This French, the French that he speaks is clear. I'm going to give you some recommendations, all right? But I mean, I'm going to share some songs that he has, but don't get depressed. All right, don't get depressed. They call him like again this depressive poet because for example, one song that he has that is great. But again, it's not even because I'm there, all right, feeling that in the sense that he's singing, but it's just because the tone and the musicality again. Okay, but the song is called Je déteste la vie. Oh, no, Je déteste ma vie.
Oh
Do
my
you know the
God.
meaning of that? No, Je
I
déteste ma vie.
understand.
So, right, it's very depressive. But again, if you listen to that and if you listen to the piano and the way he sings, and again, with the clarity, actually, it's so clear, and the way he pronounces those words, it's at least to me, all right, compared to other French artists, again, French speaking artists, it helped me a lot, all right, with French. But again, it has to be yours. If you're going to get depressed with the song, it's not going to work for you, all right? But again, it's just something. It's just one of the many things that you can do over there.
Okay, thank you, please.
All right, you're welcome. So I'm going to send them to you. You have to remind me, but actually, I'm going to do it. because after we finish the class now, as I mentioned the song, I'm going to listen to that song.
Okay.
All right. So let's take a look at this. This is going to be very brief. Reported speech. We took a look at this just with imperatives, right? And it was very easy, just infinitive. But this is reported speech for all tenses. Tell me, please, everything that you know about the rules for reported speech for present, past, present perfect, everything that you know, please, Anita.
Okay. Well, you use report the speech when you want to tell what someone told you, or like, yes, just that's the main idea. You want to share some information, and you probably want to be very specific about the words. So yes, you can use that like I don't know, something following the structure and its exact words. And you also can like paraphrase and use that, the word that, to help you to express the idea.
All right. Yes, and I'm going to ask you more details about that. Right. So yes, we are saying someone else's words. Right. If it's direct speech, yes, we do what you said. Right. We have to keep. Right. We have to use the exact same words. We cannot change them. And we use right quotation marks. That's going to be the logic of direct speech. But indirect speech or reported speech, they both right need changes. And what are those changes that we need? That needs, for example, if I say, right, I I went, all right, to a party 1 hour ago. All right, I went to a party 1 hour ago. So how can you report that? What's the rule to report an idea that is in simple past? And remember, reported speech, right? Not direct speech, indirect speech.
Yes. So he said that he had gone to a party an hour ago. So,
Okay. Yes. So we can repeat that, right? And also an hour ago, right? Because we are repeating that immediately, right? But it's great. So you're using, what is the tense that you're using to replace the simple past in reported speech?
past perfect.
The past perfect, right? So yes, right? I know. I knew that you know that. So that's easy, right? If I say, for example, I will send, all right? Yes, I will send some recommendations to you, all right? That's it. I will send some recommendations to you.
He said he will share some recommendation, send some recommendation.
All right. Yes, and it will be just to me right at the end. So he said that he would send some recommendations. He would send right with the D at the end, some recommendations to me, right? Or he would send me some recommendations, right? So yes, okay. So you know that, right? Simple past to past perfect, will to would, and like that we have other rules. But again, I know that you know those ones. But we're just going to read again to reinforce and to be sure that that's clear. So let's read this chart, please. The tense, the example, the reported or indirect speech, plus the tense that we're using to replace that tense that was said.
Okay. Oh, sorry. Present simple. I like ice cream. She said that she like ice cream. That's simple. Present continuous. I'm living in London. She said that she was living in London. Past continuous. Yeah, that's simple. bought a car. She said that she had bought a car. And past perfect. And present perfect. I haven't seen Julie. And she said that she hadn't seen Julie. Past perfect. Past perfect. I have taken English lessons before. Young. She said that she had taken English lessons before. See? Well, I'll see you later. She said that she will see me later. Well, yeah, I can speak perfect English. She said that she could speak perfect English. It could. Maybe I may be late. Maybe late. She said that she might be late with me. I must study on the weekend. She said that she had to study on the weekend.
Okay, there you go. Thank you. So again, is there anything new here for you? I imagine that you know all these changes, and again, actually it's reinforcing. I believe that we don't have to practice this unless you tell me that you have some doubts, because for me it's going to be even more important to go on to finish the words that we have for transitional words and those details. But what do you say? Any questions about these changes? Again, I know that you know this.
Uh, just with past perfect. That's a rule, right? Yeah, you use past perfect and you use past perfect even in your report to the speech.
Exactly. Because there's not another tense that can be earlier or that can replace the past perfect. In order of how well something happened before, it's the only the past event, and it's the only past tense that we can use over there. So yes, there's not another alternative than using the past perfect once again.
Okay.
All right, good. There you go. But all the other ones, right? They have their well, the tenses to which they have to change. All right, and also this is also very important, right? Remember, actually, it depends. We're not going to read this in detail because I'm just giving you a lot of options. Why? Because we only have to be careful with the time expressions, right? And again, it depends when it was said. If you're reporting something that I said 5 minutes ago, you don't need to change this, right? You can keep right now. It can also be now. It can also be today, right? But it's different if it was yesterday, if it was 2 days ago, if it was 1 week ago, if it was 1 month ago, right? If you have all those differences, then you have to decide what change is going to be better then at that time, right, that is far away from you, yesterday, that day, if you know what day you're talking about, you don't want to be specific, or you can be very specific with the date or a specific day, right? The same here, right? If it was yesterday, but you're reporting that in a different day, can be the day before yesterday, the day before, or specific dates, and so on and so forth, right? It's important to take that into account, that we have to pay attention to the time expressions to make that change even more accurate. And of course, some adjectives, right? Possessive adjectives, pronouns, object pronouns, right? And that's again, sometimes it is obvious, but sometimes it can be something that we forget. But that's it, all right? That's it over here. I don't know if you have again questions or anything that you believe you have to practice or you want to practice related to this lesson, Larissa. Let me know, please.
No, no, I don't have a specific question. Yes, but I know I need to practice.
Yeah, tell me, do you believe that you need to practice with this or do you have it
No,
clear?
I will practice on my own.
Okay.
But yes, I know the structures, but it's better for me if I just like uh, have I don't know if this is the expression, but try to have a better flow, more
Okay.
easier way to recall the the structure?
All right. Yes, no problem. Yes, some of this again, as you know the basics and you know what you have to do. There's no right sense in practicing here. You can do it on your own. But again, if you get to have any questions, or if one of the examples that you're practicing right with it's not clear for you, then you can bring it to the class and we can take a look at that together. All right. But again, now again, then let's so just in case as we were right having that conversation, everything has been reassigned. You have until this Sunday to finish it. All right.
Until tomorrow, I will finish this. I will
All right.
finish.
Great. But again, just in case, right? If you have a party tomorrow again, so perhaps it's going to be after tomorrow. All right. So let's take a look again then and what's important here, because again, as we don't have a lot of time left, it's important to try to cover the at least finishing these transitional words and take a look at the structure of that specific essay that is the persuasive or argumentative essay. But in order to go there, we need to finish first this one. All right, now here I had a question. The last thing that we got to see was adversative transitions. And we took a look at the only two that you're going to see with me, right? Contrasting and considerable. Remember that that's something you have to practice. Right, on Friday, you can show me your examples. One using a transitional word or phrase, right, for contrasting, and one using a transitional word or phrase for concession, right? We know that there's a difference, and actually, sometimes it can be subtle. And sometimes, even though, and this is important, Benita, even though nevertheless and nonetheless are in this group, considering a point, in some cases, all right, and according to what I read and what people do, in most of the cases, I would say that it can also be used as a contrast. All right, but only nevertheless and nonetheless. This can sometimes be used as contrast as well. But if you want to use it, all right, perfectly, following all the grammar rules, they should be used as concession, as well as although, despite, regardless, even so, even though, and so on and so forth. Right? Again, it's important that you have that clear, and remember that you still have other categories that we're not taking a look at here because they are not as important as these ones. But take a look at them as well. You have a lot of transitional words and phrases over here. Be sure that they are clear for you. If not, again, you can ask for those specific details on the next class. All right, but today, let's take a look at this. These are causal transitions. And again, the main ones, the two important ones, are very simple, but we need to understand very well how to use them. So let's read both of them, please, Anita. Showing cause or reason, and then showing effects or results.
Cause or response, complete sentence, plus comma plus second idea, as same as same as above. Lead phrase only to because of okay. Since the original sample group was too small, researchers called for more participants. Due to budgetary demands, funding will be cut in half, showing effects results. Consequently, therefore, was accordingly, as a result of this, for this reason, as a consequence. Therefore, we can conclude that this was an asymmetric catalyst. As a consequence, many consumers began to demand safer products.
Okay, all right, thank you. Now, remember, if we are not going to use the structure that we know, remember what's the structure? Complete idea, period or semicolon, transitional word or phrase, comma, the second complete idea, right? That's the main formula that we know, the main structure. But I told you that we have some exceptions, and this is right an exception. Here, you have to use this with this logic, right? Since, complete idea, comma, the second idea. It can be inverted as well, but even in the inversion, you're not going to use the semicolon or the period. Those rules are also just in case over here. And you have access actually to this document, right? It is in A9 if I'm not wrong. These are all the transitional words that you use with the main formula, right? The one that I mentioned just a minute ago. But here down below, you have the ones that work with this exception, right? First, complete, and you have always two possibilities with these exceptions, right? Here, no. Here, it has to be like that. If you don't do it like this, then there's no logic in using transitional words. All right, why? Because you are connecting two ideas, right? You are right working on a transition from one idea to another idea. So it has to be always the first idea, period, semicolon, the transitional word or phrase, comma, and the second complete idea. But with the exceptions, actually they work as sometimes subordinating conjunctions, and some of them are going to be like that, all right? But you have two options with these exceptions. And I'm showing you this because since and as are in these exceptions, as you have to work with those two now. The first possibility is the first complete idea, no punctuation mark, right? At least from this list, only from this list, are the only exceptions, and the second idea, right? Or the order that you have in the document that I showed you. A word from the list, the second complete idea first, comma, and the first complete idea. All right, so you have these two possibilities. I'm showing you this because what you have here, and actually I want to show you something as well. Um, Here you have one that is going to be the exception. All right, when since is going to work as reason, not as a period of time, right? Not as the beginning of a period of time. People used to with a comma before since. All right, it's going to be one exception. But usually, and most of them, and actually not most, all of them are not used with a comma when they are in the middle. All right, only since, and if I'm not wrong, some of these elements that show contrast as well. But again, in order not to overcomplicate that, we are going to use the order that we have over here. That is again, first since, the complete idea, comma, the second complete idea. All right. But again, I just wanted to put emphasis on that because then the formula for these two, since and as, is going to be different. All right. It is going to be different. But I don't know if you have any questions about these elements so that we can try practicing a little bit. Let me know, please.
I know that you use things it's like a general source to express something in your paragraphs. So I think I would like to try to differentiate and the uses or the combination you can use with things because here showing cards for reason okay something clear I think but I think there are other ways in which we can use it. Right now, I don't have any examples in my head, but I don't know if you have like a structure in which you can use things.
Okay. As in here, right? As a cause or a reason, right?
Yes, something like that, because I cannot say the specific words or the specific group, but I I struggle with the idea of different or separate the uses or application.
Okay. So first, let's take a look at right. The first usage of since is just for a period of time. right? And that's going to be clear. If you use time reference after since, of course, that's going to be the main meaning that we need. Right? I'm just going to show you those two. Right? For example, I've been working here since 2018. All right, so over here it's pretty obvious that since is just for a period of time, right? It's not going to be cause, it's not going to be a reason or anything like that, right? But now I'm going to give you the examples with cause and with reason. If that's not the thing, perhaps that is going to help clarify, we're going to try to go further. All right, but to use since as reason, you first have to say something like, let's say like that. Okay. So no worries. So since I love dancing, right? Because I love dancing. So since and as are just because. All right, they're just because. So since I love dancing, I will go right to a party this weekend. All right, so that's the thing. So since this is true, right? Since this element is something that I really love, then this will happen. All right. So this is the cause. This is the reason why I will do this element over here. And of course, as I told you, with these exceptions, you have two options. You can simply work this in inversion. Again, the recommendation, and this was the grammar rule for previous books. I don't know, perhaps I'm too old. All right. But it will be to use a comma over there. But I took a look at something that when you do here in on Google Docs, all right, they are going to consider sometimes that as a mistake, as they are doing over here. So again, my recommendation is in this case, because again, that rule was applied before, we always have some changes, use it like that, without a comma, with the rules that we always know, right? Like with when, with if it's in the middle, no comma, if it's at the beginning, with a comma. All right, always with that logic. And as is exactly the same, right? If you use as, it is going to be exactly the same, right? As I love dancing, I will go, right? Or I will go to a party this weekend, and I will go to a party this weekend as I love dancing, right? Anytime again you want to show a specific reason, it is going to be correct. The only thing you should have in, which you should bear in mind here, Isa, is that you need complete ideas with since, all right, to work with this logic. It has to be with complete ideas. One more, all right, and then you try to give me some with the other ones. You can say since I, right, got late to work, all right, I was fined by the company, right? Something like that. So because this is true, this is the cause why this happens. All right. And again, let's take a look at the element over here. I was late to work, or I got late. It's going to be the same over there, but you can change this to another one, right? Just the order, and it is going to be the same. Okay. Since I got right late to work. Okay, something like that. But that's going to be the general logic that we should take into account. And over there again, you can use S to replace that idea. So I don't know if you have any questions over there, then it's about since and as, but that's the logic with which you use, and that's the possible combinations that you have with the two of them. Do you have any questions? Perhaps was there something else or something different that you wanted to know? Let me know, please.
Yes, in both examples, we use specific reasons, right?
Yes, and the reason has to be next to since and next to as, exactly. This has to be why you are doing this second element. All right, this is the why you are doing that, and it has to be specific because you need to give a clause over there, right? You need a clause. It means you need a complete idea. So since complete idea, something specific, comma, something happened because of that, or something will happen because of that, or something is happening because of that, right? So the time can change. It doesn't matter. You can use any tense as long as the first element or the element with since is the reason why you are doing the second element in any tense. All right. So what do you say? Any other questions or something that is not clear over there?
Yes, so you can use yes with specific elements, like here I got consent, or a specific reason also, but with time, right? Um,
Yes, the time.
the time,
That's
something.
going to be the huh? Yes. Sorry, Denise. Tell me.
Yeah, when you, I know, I think this is like an expression since the beginning of the time of the era, something like that. Yeah, that's also is also a specific reason, but it's like a time expression that specific reason, right?
Yes. And remember, but when you use it with time, like in the first exercise, actually, let's divide these two, right? This is just for a period of time, right? This is for period of time, and this is going to be tried for a transitional word for reason. All right. So yes, if you want to use it as a period of time, in this case, this is not going to work as a transitional word. All right. It is not a connector. All right. It is not a transitional word. All right. It is not. That's just going to be a time reference at the end of your sentence that it is very likely going to be in what tense? In the present verb. Right? It's 99% of the time it's going to be in the present verb. But if you want to use since as a transitional word or phrase for a reason, it has to be always with a complete idea. And you're going to use this for a specific reason. All right. So yes, if you have that clear, then it is going to be good. But yes, that's the logic and that's the main thing that we should bear in mind. That
So here is the specific reason.
yes, that's also specific.
Yeah, and the specific elements.
Yes,
Kind of elements be that.
in both cases. Yes, in both cases it is going to be the same. The only thing that is changing over there is the use of since, that is the same as, and also over there you can say because. Okay, so because, since, as, both work well similarly in this situation. Because I love dancing, comma, I will go to a party this weekend, and you use these three words, the meaning is going to be exactly the same. All right. Good. So let's do the following then. Again, I don't know if we're going to have some time, and actually we have some time to work on some examples and then check and see how it goes. But I'm going to ask you then this, Denise. It's going to be up to you. Do you want me to give you now some time? It's going to be 4 minutes more or less to write two ideas and check it now? Or do you want to continue working on the transitional words, but then you're going to have some extra homework to work with?
No, it's your homework.
Extra homework, but are you going to be able to complete it this
Yes,
time?
yes,
Okay.
yes, yeah.
So let's continue then. It's good. It's better. It's better that it's like that. But again, I just don't want you to give you a lot of things because I know, right? We have a lot of things to do, and sometimes it's better to work in class. But let's continue. Again, the rest of them, they are for you to take a look at. You let me know, you practice with them in case you get to have any questions. It's important that you let me know. All right. But again, you have a lot of transitional words over here. We're going to take a look at only the ones that are important. Then it means that today we're going to finish with the transitional words. The last category is for sequence. All right. And here we have three important elements: organized by number, showing continuation, and concluding or summarizing. All right, so let's start by these two, please, Danita. Let's read these two elements first.
Okay. Organizing by number. Initially, firstly, secondly, thirdly, first, second, third. First of all, to start with, in the first, second, third place. Initially, subjects were asked to write their names. First of all, dolphins are the smartest creatures on the sea, showing continuations. Afterwards, eventually, next, after this, that. After that, subjects were taken to their room. Afterwards, uh, they were asked about their experiences.
Right? Okay. Now, something important here, right? And perhaps you know, is that with after we have to use a phrase, right? After that experiment, after this, after that, after what I said before. Okay, so we have to use a phrase. If we only say after comma, that is not going to be correct, right? We have to say something. But if you want to give the idea of after without an object, without a phrase, you have to use afterwards, right? Afterwards, comma, but you don't need any phrase. All right. So afterwards or after plus a phrase. It cannot be only after. It can be next, only next. All right, but not only after. Um, Again, any questions you're going to let me know, but let's take a look also at this one, the third one that is concluding and summarizing, please.
Okay. Ultimately, finally, therefore, altogether, overall, breaking. To conclude, as final point in conclusion, given these points, in summary, to sum up, ultimately, not ultimately, the results will be valuable to the study effects. In conclusion, there are three things to keep in mind: A, B, C, and A, B, and C.
All right, there you go. Right. So again, I believe that this is the easiest category. All right. Why?
Yeah,
Because it,
no, I
tell
have
me.
problem with this. I have problem with using this because I used to practice with the TOEFL lectures, and I struggle with this structure when you want to show the sequence of events to show um your position, right? I don't know if that's
Okay.
if you understand.
All right.
Yeah,
And why? Why was this difficult? Usually, right, these tend to be the most logical, right, one because you know, right, you start with something, you continue with something, then you can continue with something else, and then you finish your idea, right? So, what is the thing that was complex or complicated for you?
it is because I think my ideas were. I mean, I was mentioned something in initially, and the second were not too different or something like that. Those ideas were supposed to be in just one sentence, and I used two, for example, um, two phrases here, for example, first and second, and first and second. I am supposed to use just only first because the other uh, wasn't work as an independent idea, something like that. I don't know if you understand.
Yes, yes. And actually, that's because usually, and again, for practicing, even I do that, but just for practicing. And some people tend to get that and they keep that idea and they use them very close together. But the idea of these transitional words actually is not right using them after any idea that you have in mind, right? Or you keep in mind. It is very important to know how to distribute these transitional words and phrases, right? Because as you're saying, you can use first, you have one idea, then you say second, but that idea can be related to that first idea, So it's not good using, and actually in the structure that you're going to see with me, Vanessa, because we're finishing this, it means that on Friday, if we have the time, I believe we're going to have the time. But actually, I don't know. As we're starting a new course, we have to join, right? Everything we have to check this homework that you're going to have, plus covering something. So we have the time on Friday. If not, on Monday, we're going to start with the structure, all right? But in that structure, you're going to see that we are not going to use these transitional words. Even the maximum we're going to use is two in the same paragraph, but that's going to be perhaps too much. It is very likely that we're going to use these transitional words for sequence just once every paragraph. It is very likely that it's going to be like that. All right. For example, one common mistake is when people use this sequence of actions in the introduction, but that's going to be actually incorrect. It's weird, but we don't use sequence or sequential transitions in the introduction. All right, we don't. Perhaps we're going to use only one type of these sequential transitions that is going to be the summarize. All right, that's the only one we're going to be using, but the other ones no. But then we're just going to use a couple of them for the body paragraphs, right? For the first body paragraph or the second body paragraph. And very likely we're not going to say second in the same paragraph. No, we're going to show continuation with one of these ideas. All right, afterwards, but not in order to show that that's a sequence, but in order to add more information to that same idea. All right, but again,
I'm going to suffer with you because did you know Juba? Maybe she's a YouTuber.
okay, no, actually, no, I haven't heard on that
Oh my
YouTube.
God, Juba. She uses this common web terms in her examples. She really uses like a structure, and yes, she used even 2 or 3 of them. Yes, 2
Yeah,
in a paragraph.
uh-huh.
And just
And that's good again. And actually, again, it depends. But as you're talking about the TOEFL, mentioning the essay they have for you, right? The structure of that essay. In those cases, it is not going to be advisable. Actually, again, it's going to create confusion, and even it's going to be like too pretentious sometimes. All right, because we sometimes we're trying to use these words every single time, but again, it's not going to be necessary. Why? Because we have more options. The transitional words should be to connect important, all right, separations, divisions that we have in our paragraphs, or mainly to connect paragraphs in general. Because in between the paragraph, you have other elements to connect your ideas, right? You have coordinating conjunctions and you have subordinating conjunctions, right? It means you have pamphlets and you have these words that can be used in the middle or at the beginning, right? And with the usage of those words, you don't need to use these connectors or transitional words every single time. And again, just to illustrate that, I'm going to show this element over here. And here, perhaps we're going to see that used twice in the paragraph, but it is going to be an alternative. All right, but let me show you. We're going to analyze, and I'm going to mention what is important or not. Where is it? I don't remember. mm, if not, I'm going to open it here. Give me a second. It's here. And I showed you this, right? I showed you this structure, this template. Mm. All right, this one over here. Okay. Now I showed you this before, right, Nitsa?
just
Uh-huh. So, right, so in the first one, again, we don't have just one, as I told you. It could be optionally at the end, the transitional word for what? For summarizing or to give a short conclusion, right? But it's never going to be actually a real conclusion. As a result, it's a possibility over here if you want, even therefore, and this. but it's never going to be like finally, in conclusion. Those strong concluding words, they are never going to be, of course, here, right? That's why I told you it can be summarizing. These are a way of summarizing ideas, right? To say, okay, so the result of all these elements, and well, is this one in general, right? So here we don't have sequence of action, just this one, close to sequence, but it's not exactly sequence. Then here we have one, only one, and that's it. Then the only one that we have afterwards is going to be again just one of these. Again, if we use therefore over here, of course here we don't have to use therefore again, or we can use thus or all in all, because we want to summarize what was the body paragraph about. But all the other elements, if we analyze, we are not using these sequential transitions anymore. Just this one at the beginning, and again, you choose if you want to use a real sequence transitional word or just some other ones to start with your idea. Here again, just that one at the end. Again, only pick one, and the main word, the big words for to finish to conclude at the beginning of that one, additional information to add to your conclusion. And then again, you can have another word to conclude that idea, but it's to wrap up, to conclude your conclusion, right? It's a little bit weird, but here you use those two. But again, this is the logic. And again, if you take a look at the transitional words that we use related to sequence, here we only have one, possibly, here one, and two at the very end, right? They are separated by all this information over here, one and two over here, separated by all of that, and here also two, but separated by at least one other idea that is adding information to that. But that would be it. That's what I wanted to show you. And mainly in the essays that you're going to have, it is going to be close to this template, not exactly the same. For the TOEFL, you can have something very similar, but actually this is going to be more detailed and more specific than you do for the TOEFL. You have a little bit more freedom on the TOEFL, but you can use this structure also if you want. But that's again, I don't know if you have any other comments on that. Again, if that's your difficulty, then it's not something that is hard to solve. It's just following the logic that I'm showing you in these templates. And we're going to be practicing again this starting on Friday or Monday. All right, but I don't know if you have any other things over there.
No, the uh, what I know is very different. So I will try to um, um, connect my dots here again.
Okay, so tell me a little bit of what you know, please, to understand these differences.
I think I can share something with you, maybe.
Yes, of course.
Not Juba, it's Java.
It was
Java, something like that.
and Java. No, I don't know also about that one, but I'm going to.
Here. Um, share.
Okay, I see it.
She also use templates. So here, she uses first, I don't know here. first and then second and this was for instance. Yeah, I think it's just to show something there. But this first, I don't know, second, I mean, let's she used just for just kind of it's one paragraph and use to have two words to show and the order.
And again, I don't believe that that's incorrect or anything like that. I believe that that's valid. But for example, when you say right that you were having difficulties, I mean you were using this template, but how did you get to the conclusion that you were having difficulties because of that? Did you receive a type of feedback that told you that was not correct in general, or what happened?
Yes, I use I took class at CA using and my idea was trying to apply this and well the teacher doesn't have any problems with the structure. I mean, yes, but my troubles was mainly related um, with the idea of that my idea in the first I don't know sentence was very related or not too different from the second part. And he mentioned that I need to just only use one sentence to show the idea and add another idea in the second part. But I used to first and second, and both expresses the same thing, something like that. And I don't know.
Now look, what happens here is just that here you're using this is template for speaking, right? This is a template for speaking. You can apply it to writing, of course, you can apply this to writing because the logic actually that you have for writing and speaking, not just for the TOEFL, for many other tests, is going to be the same. All right, it is going to be the same. Now, also, what happens in the TOEFL is that sometimes you want to give a lot of reasons to support your response, right? Because in the TOEFL you have a question, right? Is this better or is this better, or this or that, right? And you have to say this, right? And you say this because it is better in this, right? And you start giving a lot of elements, right? Because if you realize even over there this is closer to what I showed you. If you analyze, right, first, adding information, the difference is they are showing a contrast, then they say additionally, all right, but they're not actually, right, working with more sequential words. Only one in the first body paragraph, only one in the second body paragraph. All the other ones are not sequential transitions, right? They are not sequence, right? If you analyze again, that is closer to the one. Now, in the speaking part, because you were showing me the speaking, yes, it is going to happen what you were showing me. Why? Because in that particular case, you only have 45 seconds to give me two good reasons why you chose that option. Right? So do you prefer studying at home or do you prefer going to a library? Right? I prefer studying at home because of the following reasons, right? First, I think that this and blah, 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 for example, blah, blah, right? Second, this, and that is very important. For instance, this, and that, and period, right? For the 45 seconds, that template that you showed me for speaking is perfect because actually, we have, and actually, I don't know who are taking these courses anymore. Some people take it with me, some other people, and they don't. But I have a specific course for speaking, and we get to see also templates for the speaking part for the TOEFL. And what I got is something very, very similar to what you showed. All right, but that was only for speaking. Because again, mainly because of the time and that you have to compress, right? You have to really make everything fit into 45 seconds. And in that case, of course, it is valid to use these sequential transitions more often, let's say, all right, or more close to one another. It is not going to be incorrect. Now, again, what your teacher told you, I don't know if he follows a very specific template for writing or what type of writing he teaches, because actually it depends on that. What I'm showing you here is not for every writing. It is just for persuasive or argumentative essay. All right, and this is one of the many templates that you can have. This is the one that actually worked for me and works in general for many international tests. This is not exactly made for the TOEFL. For the TOEFL, they are going to show you something specific in a specific Danitza. And it's going to be, I believe, even you have more freedom because in the template that I showed you, you have very, very specific things and it's more strict. But in the one they are going to show you again, you have more freedom. But show me, please. You have some other elements that you want to show me. We're going to see if there's some elements we have to take into account.
Yes, I mean um, she shared many resources. So yes, I will try to combine using your template and see how this is related with this extra elements, maybe. Just to connect things. Yes, she has good resources, but well, I would really like to you to explain me why we use something in a specific way. So yes.
Yes, look, and again, once again, if you compare now, because then later on you show me the writing structure, and it's not that different from the structure that I showed you. The main difference that I identify over there, and it says the following one, that over there for each idea, actually you are trying to use, or the person that wrote these templates is trying to use more supporting ideas to support that one element, right? Because if you analyze again the outline, right, it is the outline, yes, the outline, you have, right, first, then you have, yes, this one, right, furthermore, in contrast, additionally, right? So you're just giving supporting ideas, right? You're showing a contrast, but then you're showing again one idea to support your first element. And actually, this is for something very specific. Yes, this is going to work, and that's why it's different. This is specifically made for the writing task in which you have to listen first, right, to a lecture, and then you have to read a reading excerpt, right, or a reading passage. This is for that specific writing task, right? It is not for the writing task in which you have to give your opinion. This template is not for that, right? It is just to compare the reading passage with the lecture that you listen to. That's very specific for that one, and yes, it is like that. In the preparation course also that they have here, they are going to give you a very similar. If it's not the same, it's going to be a very similar template than it's, right? The article says this, and the lecture they say that, that, and that, right? And you start with the first idea, right? First, the writer or the lecturer claims this idea about, I don't know, right? Education, right? However, in the reading passage, it is stated that this, blah, 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 blah. Okay, so that's kind of the same, but again, this is going to work only, this is what you call also, then it's a descriptive essay. Okay, in a descriptive essay, you don't need to persuade anybody. You don't need to convince. right? You don't need to give your personal opinion. You don't need to do anything like that, right? The descriptive essay is just you reporting what you were able to read, what you were able to hear. And this template is for that purpose. All right, that's why it is different. Now, you must have, that's for the independent. Yes, that's for the integrated writing, right? This is for the independent. Now, here you have something.
Yeah. Yes. Entirely independent. Yes.
Exactly, right? So in the independent, you're going to have something different. Is that, yes, it's not different from the one that I got. You have the hook. Now you have directly the thesis. In my case, that it changes a little bit. The first one is the hook, but then I have background information, and then I have the thesis. All right, so I add one more element, but then it's the same. Then the transition it says, right? Then, okay, that's something extra directly made for the topic. It is not for every essay. This is just for the topic, the transition. Then the body paragraph, the first reason, the explanation and examples. I'm going to show you, you're going to see that it's not different. It is the same, but again, in my case, in the template that I'm using, it is more academic and scientific because it needs you. It really needs you to use citations, all right, quotes, real quotes from authors. But you don't have that chance in the TOEFL, right? Because you're giving your opinion only. That's why this template works better for the TOEFL because your examples are just going to be your personal experience. And this is what they are telling, right? This is demonstrated by my personal experience when I was, right, as a result, if I had not done this and that, blah, 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 blah. And it's better for the TOEFL. Why? Because you don't need exact words from any author. You're just giving your personal opinion on something, right? The second reason, the examples for the second reason and the conclusion. So it is good. I don't see why, all right, this would be incorrect for the TOEFL. All right. And again, and I'm telling you this by working with people that I know got to have 115, for example, okay, at the TOEFL 110, 115, and they used templates just like this template that you're showing. Okay, again, the changes are little, and perhaps what they do, if you want to get again a good score, is they try to replace the most common words with other synonyms that are not as common. Right? Instead of first, for example, a better thing to say than first is to say to commence. Right? Using words that have a Latin root is always more formal and more academic. All right. Even also, right, instead of you say this is demonstrated by my personal experience or something like that, you have more specific expressions that can be a little bit more fancy, could be right, fancy or more complex, but it also, of course, increases the chance of getting a higher score. But again, all in all, just by summarizing, Vanessa, if you show this template to your teacher and you were getting ready for the TOEFL, I don't really know why he told you that it was not correct. Perhaps again he has a different structure, or the preparation that he was giving you was for a different type of essay. In that case, I can understand. All right, because again, in my template, and just to finish, you're going to see those differences, and it's because in the template that I'm going to share with you, it is not something that you directly can apply for the TOEFL because you need to work with citations, you need to work with the specific words from other experts, and you focus on those specific words. And your main job in the body paragraph is to paraphrase that in order to have a scientific evidence, a scientific support, show that you understand that support, and mention why it is important to take that into account in order to support your thesis, your main thesis statement. The second body paragraph is exactly the same, but again, that's why my template is different to the ones that you're showing. All right, that's what I wanted to comment. But that's it. I don't know if you have questions. This is something you're going to see little by little. But again, the template that you're showing me is, again, I would say very similar, if not the same, that you're going to be taught after we finish with these classes. preparation course, it's the same thing that you're going to see. All right, you're going to memorize these templates, and you're going to be able to use any topic that you have in mind by using this information. All right, so I don't know if you have anything else over there, Nitsa, any comments or questions, please let me know.
Yes. Do you know how much time I will spend in trying to patch these templates uh, in, in this regular program?
One more time, I couldn't hit the time. How much time do you have to have an essay following this template?
And following the preparations, the structure. I mean, with you, I think we have like 8 classes to each model. So
Uh, yes, in that one in specific, I don't know, Danisa. Again, for those specifics, actually, I don't know because that's something different. I know the information that I'm telling you because I've been in contact with the professors over there, and they showed me these structures. And actually, I worked at the beginning, at the very beginning, some years ago, all right, with the director, and we were working on these templates, and I was giving them some expressions that they can use. All right, that's why I know this. But the time that you are, I believe that it's 1 month. I mean, it's not going to be just 8 classes. I believe that it's going to be 1 month. I mean, I'm going to tell you what I know that it was before. Before it was 4 days a week for 1 month. All right, 4 days a week for 1 month, and it was 2 hours, I think, a day. But I don't know if that's going to be the same, if it's the same right now. Then I saw that they had other, let's say, the same course, the preparation course, but different, let's say, models. And this one was also 2 months, but I don't know how it was divided. All right, 2 months, but I believe it was less days per week. But again, nowadays, I don't know. I think that they changed also to this way of working just 3 days a week, but I'm not sure that that information is going to be given directly by management. What I'm telling you, it was something that was applied like again in 2020 more or less. I don't know if that's the case anymore.
okay.
All right, but again, there is just practicing. The only thing that they're going to make you there is practicing and practicing and practicing. They are going to give you templates for every template. They are going to show you examples. They are going to make you do some things. They are going to give you corrections, practice, corrections, practice, corrections. So it's going to be directly right, getting well prepared, getting well just right, getting prepared for the TOEFL, because all the other elements in terms of English knowledge, they should be covered before that course here could be with me. That's why again I'm always asking you about these tenses or these structures that I know that you know, but in case you have questions about English just by the language and the structure, you have to let me know, because these are going to be the last classes to cover that. Again, now, because on the preparation course, you're only going to focus on this, practicing and using these templates. All right, but
Okay,
again,
thank you. We're going to have more than 10 classes or 9 classes because of my scores. I don't know, the administrator told me that I have to take extra classes.
all right, now we will have to check that. And actually, I don't know if you were, because again, I'm just going to add something else, because we can have classes, but it will be good that it will be via also the program, because the time is going to be a thing for me. All right, it is going to be a thing for me. But if via the program they can give us extra classes, all right, to have we have 2 more classes, again, not 2 classes, 2 more courses. But again, I don't know what's the criteria that the program is using right now. All right, because again, very briefly, I'm going to tell you that before it was like two different things. All right, executive English education, that it was the modular program that was only for learning English, and then it was the well, what's the name of the program exactly for the TOEFL? Ah, yes, the guaranteed, right? The guaranteed program for the top. There were two different things.
Mm-hmm.
So it was never in contact. But in total, again, it was 14 courses, all right? The entire English learning program from A1 to A13. A1 to A12, it was only Pearson, what we're doing now with you, okay, only with Pearson, and learning English by that. And then A13 and A14 were specialized programs only for practicing skills. A13, the contents that I'm showing you are for A13, but we didn't cover Pearson, we didn't cover any other topics. It was only writing. Okay, covering these lessons, practicing writing essays. We got to have 4 essays per month, okay, because it was a monthly course. So after every week, we had to present one essay, 4 essays in total, and one final essay that included absolutely everything. Also, we got to read, or yes, we got to read essays, we got to read articles because it
Oh
was
my God.
all right. Then it was the A14 again, 1 month that it was just speaking and listening. So it was listening to lectures, giving summaries about that, explaining what we were able to understand, and speaking again, 4 speaking presentations, all right, in that month, and one final speaking presentation in which you had to speak for 15 minutes. Okay, only 15 minutes, but you have to speak about one specific topic for 15 minutes. But again, that also was reduced to only eight classes. All right, 8 classes of only writing and reading, and 8 classes of only listening and speaking. But again, only some students now are the ones that get to be in those classes with me. But again, I don't know what's the criteria. But again, if you feel that you need to practice more, just in case, try to ask to the program if you can have access to those 2 extra, because they were considered advanced courses, but I believe that now they are just extra. The extra courses for writing and reading and for speaking and listening. So in that case, we don't need to worry about Pearson, and it's going to be only this very practical way of again enhancing our skills on all those for abilities that we got. But again, that's my suggestion then again, because something extra to the class, it will be really hard for me, at least in terms of time. All right, because I'm going to be busy with the courses over here. And after this, at least during the week, and then it's going to be hard for me. But if you get to have this, I believe that they're going to still make you work with me. We can be those two, or at least one of those 2 courses before you get to the prep course. But that's my suggestion. That's my recommendation. That you would have to see. You would have to make a decision over there, and then you'll see. Right, I'm going to be here. It's just going to be you and management that you get to agree with it.
Okay, thank you, Lucille.
All right, good. So then let's finish over here. All right. We are going to do one extra thing. No, remember then, yes, I didn't tell you. So we got to cover everything, all the transitional words and phrases. Danitza, and remember, you have to complete the 2 that you're missing, right? I know that you were writing it over there, so you're not going to forget contrasting and concession, right?
Mhm.
But you also need cause, right? Showing cause and showing effects. So one with that, one with the other one. I'm just asking one, but you can write more. And 3 with sequential transitions, right? One to show us the real sequence, one to add information to show continuation, and one to give a conclusion or to summarize your ideas. Okay, so let's analyze. We have a total of 7 examples, if I'm not
So,
wrong. Right, will be contrast, conceding, result, cause, sequence, real sequence, a continuation, and conclusion or summarize. 7 examples. That's correct.
1, 2, 3, 4. Mm, the oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
The last category.
Um, yes, last category, but I don't have the yeah, 4 points. I don't know. I don't
Yes,
know. The,
yes. Sorry, I had to share that with you. Let me share my screen then, just for this time, please. And you're going to take a screenshot.
yes.
All right. Yes. Sorry, I was not able even to upload that one. And actually, I'm going to give you access to this course. Yes, it's going to be better. But let me just first. No. Okay. Yeah, no, it's better. Join the course here. And this is the course that I use for the writing, reading, right, and extra course that I told you. So it is in the chat. Okay, join that course as well. And over there you can find all the materials that you need and everything we've been doing. Okay, in Unit 1, you find everything for punctuation rules, right? And the fanboys, right? Everything for punctuation marks. In Unit 2, you find this presentation for transitional words and phrases, plus this extra document, right, to show the different formulas that you have with the exception. And this is what I want to cover. We're going to start on Friday or Monday, the essay structure. All right, the introduction, the body, the conclusion. And Unit 4, that is the last one. If, again, we're just going to be in A12. I don't know if we're going to get to see this. But here, these are only certain tips that you can take into account to make your essay even more academic and better prepared, all right, for any test that you're going to be preparing for. But that's the logic of the course. The presentation is in Unit 2, and the last category is sequential transitions. Over there, you can find the three categories. With that, you will have a total of 7 examples that you have to complete.
Okay.
All right,
Okay.
and
Do it.
this one is right.
Okay.
So these are the three that you have to work with: organizing by number, showing continuation, and concluding or summarizing. Now, here again, you're going to do something that wouldn't be that correct, right? But we're going to pretend that they are part of something bigger. Why? Because if you want to give me an idea with first initially, of course, you don't need a first idea before, but it's actually possible also that you can have an idea before. So you can tell me anything that you want at the beginning, and then you tell me kind of at the end of that sentence that you're going to start describing some things, and then you tell me first, and you start describing that element, right? But afterwards, eventually, there's no problem. You tell me anything about the first idea, this transitional word, and the second idea, right? You show that continuation, and also the conclusion. Imagine that you told me a lot of things. One last thing, that is the first complete idea, period, semicolon, and this conclusion, right? Of course, we're going to pretend that they're part of something bigger, but for the examples, it's going to be more than enough that it's like
Yeah,
that. All
I
right?
will try to work with a story to try to
Okay, yes,
know
that would
how.
be great.
Yes.
Exactly. You can try to do that. And again, here we're using them separately, right? The examples that we're writing, they are not going to be the best, right? Because if we want to have a short example like that, it would be better to use just the coordinating conjunction, for example, right? And just finish. But here's just for the examples. But when we get to Unit 3 and to practice this template, over here we're going to use all those transitional words, but in a better way, right? Better justified, and it's going to be well, it's going to be clear why they are there and what's the function that they are playing. All right, that's it, Denisa. We're going to finish here by sending us always the polls. You have to
Only
post.
you 50 minutes. Thank you, Jose.
I know it's okay. It's okay. Come on, no problem. You know I
No,
enjoy.
20 minutes. You only 22.
Yes. Sorry. No, but you owe me actually 2 hours.
Okay, okay, okay. No. We are, we are
Two entire
done.
hours. So 2 hours and 20 minutes.
Okay, okay.
All right. So, and one more, please. Today was the last class for that one. this, no, this one, sorry, not that. It is this one over here. That one, please.
Okay.
All right, there you go. So I hope you have a good night. Be ready with your examples, please. It's a lot. 7 can be complex, but try to be ready with those on Friday. And again, if we have the time, we're going to start with the new topic for writing. If not, we do just the beginning of the new course on Friday, and on Monday we start with the new writing material that I have for you. All right.
Okay.
All right. So good night.
Slow, slow. Okay. Good night.
Bye bye. Good night. See you.